family. Hope you all doing well. This is a much due video. You know, sometimes we're going about our daily lives and we forget our daily lives as we live in purpose for what God has called us to do, and sometimes we forget some of the great wealth that we would have accumulated. And wealth, I'm talking about information wise. And I kept saying every single time that I had a failed interview, I kept saying I need to put a video, or I need to connect this to my blog to help people at least understand or be better candidates, because I feel that I was fortunate to have, and still fortunate to have, my mother and my father. And when I remember going for my first job at 16, my mother schooled me on what to wear and how to present myself in an interview. And I feel that sometimes people might not everyone is that fortunate. And so that's the reason why I said, you know what, I think I'm gonna do this video. So, and I kept saying, well, let me wait till I've been 5 years in corporate America as a leader. Let me wait till I've been 10 years. So it's been 12 years, and I think I've learned a lot of great stuff along the way. And I just want to share a couple of pointers for those that are going to an interview. If you've never had the chance or haven't spoken to anyone, or you don't have a career center within your college, high school, or whatever the case is, just understand that you want to get yourself prepared. One of the few things that I could take, I can only speak for myself, and some of the things, the key things that I look for in a candidate that comes to interview. They're given a specific time by the human resources. So if you're given a specific time by human resources and you don't know where you're going, I highly suggest that you do a dry run. Do a dry run the day before, whether your interview is for Wednesday and you get a chance on Tuesday, or you might say, well, I work, I won't be able to do a dry run. If you really want that job and you don't know where you're going, it's advisable to do a dry run. Most people bank on the fact that, well, Siri will take me there, or Google Maps, or whatever the case is, which is fine and dandy. But what if on the day of the interview you have phone issues? Yeah, or you get into a bad spot where you lose signal, you don't have your navigational system and all that. I'm a person that thinks a lot of things through, and sometimes it could be a blessing and a curse at the same time. But what I'm trying to say is be very well prepared. Go in as far as mapping out the route. If you don't have a chance that week to do a dry run, and when I say dry run, I mean literally driving to the place that you're trying to interview for before you go there on the day of the interview, so you know where you're going and what route you're taking. And if you don't have that chance, do it on a weekend. And most times they schedule interviews, they'll schedule interviews days or a week before, and most times nowadays the interviews are at whatever your schedule allows. So most times but never the case, be prepared and ready. And if you cannot do a dry run, then leave your house at a very good time, super early. And because what you want to do, even if you get there way early, at least you're within the vicinity, versus where you get there late. Now you're rushed, you're panicked, you don't know where you're going. So I go back to a couple of things. There's a handful of things that I look for. A candidate is given time by the HR department, and I'm going through a tunnel, and I'm looking at my clock to see what time they get there. And once they get there, I'm looking to see how presentable they are. So make sure you get something to wear. I have been so saddened over the course of my life finding great candidates, but they were not dressed up to par. Can you believe that some people actually had like food stained shirts and crinkled up clothes? And it's like, okay, were you coming for an interview, or did you just get out of bed and decide? Because to me, I want to see how much you want this job. I want to see what it means to you and how important you value this job. So number one, remember to give yourself enough time, allow yourself enough time. Number two, map out where you're gonna go, which is, well, number two is part of number one. Map out which route you're gonna take, where you're going, familiarize yourself with that, and get yourself a get yourself some neatly paired clothes. I didn't have to match, but you know, slacks and a blouse or something decent. Yes, people still look at that these days, unless if you're going to an interview where you know that they're not really particular about the way you're going to present yourself, then that's understandable as well. But nevertheless, you don't want to wear a crinkled up t-shirt if that's the case, and crinkled up pants. So 1, be on time, prepare your route. 2, present yourself well, groom. If you're a smoker, which I've had a couple of times where we have a no smoking policy, if you've just finished a cigarette in your car, then you're smelling like smoke coming to an interview, that's really not also part of the best presentation to present yourself with. So that falls within part two of the presentation. And we can also talk about the third thing: be well versed on the company you're applying for. Most people are not taking enough time to figure out who they're going to go work for. Nowadays, it's so easy with social media. Most companies are on Facebook with online access. Most companies are online. Do a website search. Find out what position you're filling out for. Find out how you can be an asset for that company. Find out what you mean to that company. Find out what the company does, so that you can impress your interviewer as well. And not even just that, but at least you're well informed of what it somewhat entails, and you got more questions to ask at that point of interview. Now, I leave you with these 3 things so the video doesn't run way too long, but as time goes on, if you have any questions, concerns, or suggestions, or whatever the case is, if you have questions about an upcoming interview or anything job related, please feel free to email me. I could give you the best advice I can as a person that's been in the leadership role for 12 years. I want to see the millennials make it. I want to see Gen X make it. I want to see everyone make it. But I hate to see people not make it because of one crucial mistake they make at an interview. So God bless you, and God bless you.